James Mennie is on the line. Hello, James.
Hello, Sue.
So we got lots to talk about today, and I want to ask you about high-speed rail. But first, let's talk about the CAQ. They are going to be one big happy family after this leadership vote. Aren't things pointing in that direction?
No. That's Mon François says that. Everything's going to be fine. There's going to be the vote. We're having a leader, and we'll be marching towards a better Quebec for you and for me. But the fact of the matter is, and you sort of had a taste of this during the leadership debates between Bernard Drainville and Christine Frechette. At one point, Drainville was getting booed by Frechette's supporters because he seemed to be coming on a little bit too strong, pointing the finger, accusing her of being too hesitant, being too, tentative in terms of moving forward. Now, on the other hand, every single survey suggests that Ms. Frechette is going to wipe the floor, metaphorically speaking, with Mr. Drainville. And yet, Sue, he keeps pointing out, and he's quite right, it's not about the supporters, it's not about the panel of the poll. It's about the rank and file membership. And my God, the fact that 20,000 people, a little over 20,000 people are going to be choosing the next premier of Quebec, that's daunting enough. But I just get the impression that no matter who wins, like if Madame Frechette, if the polls are right, I think you're going to see a lot of gnashing of teeth, especially when you have the endorsements today by the likes of Simon-Jean Barrette, who, let's face it, is like a mini-me of Bernard Drainville when it comes to identity, when it comes to the divisiveness, when it comes to the real brand that is the Coalition Avenir Québec, and that's M. Jean Barrette. I know Jonathan Julien is also endorsing him, although I think M. Julien is I'm not seeking another term, so that's a bit backhanded. But I just have a feeling that if Madame Frechette wins, you're going to have this sort of like hard-edged nationalist. It's never enough. We're being sold up the river, cultural suicide, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just taking quotes from the big book of François Legault, right? This is the kind of vernacular he came up with over the past 8 years. But I also find that if Bernard Drainville would win and upset everything and the polls were all wrong, but if he wins, I think you are going to see a stampede for the door for the Coalition Avenir Québec, because I think they know that they've played out that hand. I think they know that as far as they're concerned, the whole populist spiel is now owned by the PQ. And if they don't turn around and come across as being a little kinder, a little bit gentler, the devastation that a lot of us expect to occur during the general election is going to be even more complete. But, once again, it remains to be seen. But I got to tell you, I'm having a lot of trouble, sort of like looking at this and saying, okay, it's going to be A, B, and C. And you know what? Sue, I think that, Frechette's got it in the bag. I don't think so. I got a funny feeling about this one. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and maybe Bernard Drainville is completely wrong. But the fact is, and it's so funny, because sometimes people will vote for you just because you stick around. Sometimes people will vote for you just because you got punched in the head 15 times, but you got back up and you went in for another round. So
listen,
we'll see what happens.
I would not count that guy out. I wouldn't count Drainville out. He's a fighter.
The one thing that we can take to the bank, as far as I'm concerned, is that this will not be one big happy family, no matter who wins the prize on Sunday.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to see the way the split is kind of forming. And to your point, who are the ones lining up for Drainville? And they are the ones that are the mini-me's and the sort of, Drainville's like, I'm going to be hard on immigration. And he's definitely clanging that bell for sure. So, already sowing division. And he hasn't even...
Well, I'm sure there are enough people who remember Bernard Drainville 1.0 with the PQ. Yeah. Who was giving us remember those little schematics of people wearing turbans and stuff for the Charter of Values? I mean, for God's sake.
It wasn't that long ago,
No, it wasn't. It seems like ages ago. But the fact of the matter is, we've been putting up with this rubbish for about a decade, and it's just ridiculous.
All right, let's talk about Canada's political storm. Are we enjoying a little moment of calm before things blow up?
I really think we are. I mean, I spoke to you last week about this. In these by-elections, advanced polling is winding up in the 3 by-elections, 2 in Toronto, 1 in Terrebonne, There's, the suggestion being that if the Liberals take all, if the Liberals even take two, they've got the majority. But the icing on the cake would be if they really take Terrebonne from the Bloc Québécois. That was literally won or lost, depending on your point of view, by a single vote. But all that said, I really get a feeling that you are going to see maybe the bottom might drop out of the Poilievre Conservatives, to tell you the truth, because this is going to be. They can hop up and down all they want and talk about floor crossing and whatever. Once again, and to be fair, it's not just Poilievre. A succession of leaders have seemed to suggest that at least this brand of conservatism. This, and I have always hesitated on the show to refer to them as conservatives. They are, in fact, a coalition of the Reform Party and the Canadian Alliance.
Absolutely. They're not old school conservatives, that's for sure.
No, these are not your dads or your granddad's conservatives. And there's every single time they try and reach up, they succeed in creating more of an impression that they are nothing more than a regional rump from that part of Canada that I refer to as Abskatchatoba, and you'll never really get out of there. I mean, your core is going to be there, but even then, it seems that part of that old Carney magic that they are making, at least in urban areas out west, they are making headway. So I really think that much in the same way, you're going to see a divided CAQ, if you will, on Sunday. Come with Monday's by-election results, I think you're going to see at least the tone of political debate is going to go up about 3,000 or 4,000 decibels, at least for a few days or maybe a couple of weeks until things get sorted out. But the fact is, you could say whether he tripped into power, whether he intrigued into power, whether it was backroom deals, whatever. Whether we like it or not, it's part of our system. It was all of it legal. And if he is going to have a majority, in fact, as you pointed out, he's already been governing as if he has a majority, so it's not going to be a huge change for our listeners. But the fact is, we're going to have a very remarkable situation where a government which, a little over a year ago, was on the ropes. It's like people thought this is it, they're done, they're finished, are going to turn around and suddenly become perhaps a world-class player in a world which has been turned upside down by the likes of Donald Trump. But here we are, and to a certain extent, it's all going to turn on those three votes that we'll find out about on Monday.
For sure, and I want to talk about one of the issues in that for a second. But it does strike me that we had these. Not you and I, but commentators in general had these conversations after the last election when Pierre Poilievre. There was no way the Conservatives were going to vote him back as leader, but they did, something like 78% or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the bottom is going to fall out. I think the more the better that Carney does, it almost galvanizes that really right-leaning base.
There were questions raised about the entire process of that vote, that approval vote, who was able to attend, whether those delegates were handpicked by the leader. But the fact is, listen, he's there. There's nobody perceived as waiting in the wings. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, how long? There are a lot of career politicians, a lot of politicians that you and I used to hear about on a more regular basis. They may as well be on Mars for the past 8 years, but we haven't really heard that much from them. And now the question is, do they want to continue? Do they want to continue under the aegis of Pierre Poilievre and this kind of ersatz Conservative Party, or perhaps do they figure this is their last chance to sort of stake out their territory? And once again, either possibility, as far as I'm concerned, is equally likely, but it's just fascinating to see
for sure.
This dynamic, this really weird dynamic where it's almost as if you have one particular school of political thought that is determined against all odds to make sure that it loses on a regular basis.
Well, I feel like, too, the Conservatives are looking at this high-speed rail issue as a real opportunity. I mean, all of a sudden, it's become this huge controversy to the point that Yves Blanchette of the Bloc is campaigning in Terrebonne and making that the issue. So where do you stand on this? We're going to ask our callers this coming up, but I'm just curious. I mean, are the Conservatives just making hay out of an issue that they know will sound like liberal spending?
For the Conservatives, it's the evil liberals coming in to take over, to expropriate your farm, or to cast you out so the elites can have a high speed link between Quebec City, Montreal, and Toronto.
That's exactly the argument.
And the Bloc will turn around and substitute elites for les Anglais, for les autres. Ça n'a rien à faire avec nous autres là. C'est les gens de Terrebonne qui va payer pour ça. And it's like this, and there are people who, although they might be of a certain age, they remember how the whole federal aroma around the expropriations at Mirabel.
Oh, that was horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was horrible. It was absolutely terrible. So, but on the other hand, there's also a part of me, and perhaps a part of you. I mean, I've been hearing about this high-speed rail link since I think I was in high school. Yeah. So, like, really? And that was a long while ago, Stu. So you know what? I'll believe it when I see it. But by all means, bring on the rhetoric. Thump that tub. But I'm really getting the impression that this too may pass, and not because of the efforts of any opposition politician, simply because this is the kind of thing that sometimes it's a pretty thing that we run with, and then we suddenly decide to drop for whatever reason, whether it's costs or whatever. And I think that may be, in the end, that may be the PS for the whole idea of a high-speed rail link, that the cost will just be so high that people say, "No, forget about it." But that said, good luck with campaigning on it, because I don't think that's the kind of thing, even in Terrebonne, that's keeping people awake at night.
Well, I don't know. The word expropriation is pretty inflammatory, and also, for a mere $90 billion between friends, James.
For now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know as well as I do.
That's Montreal, Ottawa.
The meter is running. Yes. So, 90, maybe 100, maybe 120, who knows.
All right, James, great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Experience Bruno Mars live in Toronto.
Guess who's back again?
iHeartRadio wants to send you and a friend with flights from tripcentral.ca. 2 nights at Sheraton Centre Toronto. Tickets to Bruno Mars and $1,000 cash.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Download the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to iHeart New Music for 10 minutes.
I'm coming to get you.
Win your way to Bruno Mars.
Will you be there? Oh, I just might.
Every day you listen is another chance to win.